Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Racing to Win, right here on the Grid Network. Joe San Diego, along with Daniel Zeri from Racers, the girls behind the helmet. Very excited to be back on the air, and we're going to be recapping 2021. First part of a couple episodes, we're going to be looking back at the year, and of course, we're going to start off with one W Series driver who launched an initiative to get more female racers, potential racers even, in the racing simulators and learning about being on the track.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hi Joe, and hello to every one of our viewers. Really happy to be back on the air with you guys. I think, as you said, it was a really cool initiative. We had the opportunity to go to Verona in northern Italy with Vicky Piria, the only Italian driver on the W Series grid in the last couple of years, and of course it was really interesting because. She said that she often gets messages. She has a huge following in social media. She really also a big TV personality in Italy. So she gets a lot of messages from race fans, and especially from female race fans, telling her that they are huge motorsport enthusiasts. They're really big fans of the sport, but they really don't have many opportunities to get closer to the sport they love. They do not have the network and the connections to try to get behind the scenes. They do not even know sometimes who to talk to about their passion of motor racing, because of course many of them still get the feeling that it's a male sport, that there's not many opportunities for women, even not only in a driving position but in other roles. So Vicky really came out with this idea, with really amazing idea of organizing a day in a professional simulator facility, the place where she trains before the races, which is Wave Italy. This is the name of the facility. It has state-of-the-art simulators equipment where professional drivers go and there and train for their upcoming races. There are engineers, there are telemetrists, there are strategists. They go there and do the behind-the-scenes work before actually hitting the track. So this is a very important job that drivers and teams have to do before even going on the track, because we know that it's really expensive to go train on and do testing on track. And for some series it's not even allowed. So simulators have become more and more important during the last years in motor racing. And so she had this idea of bringing 6 young women with her, and actually make them feel like a racing driver for one day, and to coach them throughout all the process, get them the basic knowledge, with as we saw in the picture that I took with Vicky, having some lessons of theoretical lessons at the beginning of the day, and then switching on into the actual simulator. The 6 ladies that she brought with her were Alice Cecchi, Alessia Lerose, Natalia Cancellaro, Alessandra Mauri, Daniela Bombonato, and Camilla Della Pietra. They were 6 Italian young women, from 16-year-old, the youngest, and 29, the oldest. And all of them massive motorsport enthusiasts that really didn't have the opportunity before of seeing what there is behind the scenes, and so this was mega for them, but also for everyone that was there. So I'm really grateful for Vicky for inviting us and letting us the opportunity to see this amazing piece of equipment and seeing how they work. But also seeing the smiles on the faces of these young women that really had a day to remember. And as we see here in one of the debriefing, Vicky was coaching them with at the end of the day they learned 3 tracks. The first one was Monza, which everyone thought at the beginning that it would be the easiest one, because there are not many corners, there's long straights. But actually, it revealed quite challenging as well, because of the heavy brakings, and of course, the braking techniques are one of the most difficult things to learn at the beginning. And then they switched on to Misano, and then at the end of the day at Mugello, which kind of became everyone's favorite track at the end of the day. The fastest one was Alessia Le Rose, the youngest one, 16-year-old for her. And Wave Italy, the facility, decided to award her with another 2 hour of coaching or professional coaching. She will come back to Verona to have her second day in the professional simulator with the help of engineers. So really professional environment. And so this is probably another opportunity for her, that maybe she will be more interesting in sim racing. Who knows? We know that motor racing has a huge accessibility problem, and sim racing is an opportunity, and a very cost-effective one. So why not? And maybe, as Vicky throughout the day remembered to all of these participants, she said, this is a passion that I'm trying to give you an opportunity to also to connect with some like-minded people, but remember that not necessarily you have to become a driver. There are many opportunities that this sport can offer, even in a media or communication role, or even in management or in engineering as a mechanic, or everything is now a little bit more open, and hopefully there will be more young women getting interested in motorsport and trying to pursue their dreams. This was the big goal behind Vicky's initiative.
Very, very exciting to see this initiative, and hopefully it's just the first of many more to come. Now, one of the things you mentioned, the 3 tracks, I was surprised Mugello was everyone's favorite. Was this because of the elevation changes and just the different types of corners that we see compared to like Monza, where you got the high speeds and then really tight cornering?
Yeah, I think so. As we said at the beginning, they tried Monza, and everyone was still kind of learning, the equipment. They were trying to learn the techniques. Vicky was with them throughout all the day, so she was really coaching and calling the braking points and the gears and all that. And as they went on, I think they got a little bit more confident in the simulator. And at the end, when they tried Mugello with the elevation changes, a lot more high speed and corners, and then a couple of chicanes. So it was a little bit more mixed in its. Even though it's very difficult and very technical, they went pretty well at Mugello, interestingly. And they were at the beginning. There was like test sessions, so each one of them had a single test session. And then at the end, they had one head-to-head races. And some of the races were really exciting, until the last corner. So it really showed that they made a huge progress with coaching, and also shows how important it is to have coaching from a professional driver. Yeah, it was really interesting.
The coaching from a professional driver, and then these simulators, of course, as you saw, they are not cheap. In fact, I can't imagine. We know how much they put into the effort to simulate being on the racetrack, the G-force and everything. To be in Mugello with those elevation changes, oh my goodness, I can't imagine. Especially for any viewer that has not experienced, we've seen Mugello on TV. What were the drivers saying, especially as they were first time simulator and with Mugello and all the elevation changes? What were some of their reactions to all those G forces they felt?
Yeah, it was really interesting because some of them also said, I really can't see the corner because you're sitting so low, and you see just a little bit of the wheels, and it's sometimes it's difficult to see the corner. You really have to have good reference points, where to brake and where to turn in, where to hit the apex, and then start to open the steering wheel again, and go back on the gas pedal. So this really required some coaching from Vicky, and also from Marco Zipoli, who is a former Italian Formula 3 driver, and also was a test driver at Ferrari Formula 1 back in 2007 and 2008, I believe. So a former Formula 1 test driver also being there and getting, helping them with coaching was massive for them. and they really instructed them where to look, because they really said you have to look way ahead, or what you do in a street car, of course. And so they try to train them where to look and where to turn in the car. So even though if you're not seeing the corner, because as you said, there are a lot of elevation changes, you have some solid reference points, and then you can turn in and trust the car and trust the aerodynamics. Because one of the things that I haven't mentioned before, they all went out with the Formula 4 cars in the simulator. So it's still a propedeutic formula, a junior car, but still there is aerodynamics, and so you have to trust the car to carry a lot of speed into the corners.
Amazing. Definitely encourage everyone to comment. If you had the opportunity to go in a simulator, which track would you like to go? Would it be something like Mugello or something more high speed, flat out like Monza? Definitely share in the comments. And of course, all year long, we'll be reporting on more news stories like this throughout 2021 and 2022, which is now just a few weeks away because we're already in December. And looking back, of course, as you mentioned, Vicky was in the W Series, and the W Series this year, that championship was won by Jamie Chadwick. Second time she won the W Series championship, and it was an all year long battle with Alice Powell coming down to the last race at Circus of America. And of course, W Series, one of the big series for women in motorsports. Definitely one of the first ones we want to recap. And overall, this year, those two dominated the headlines and dominated the storylines each and every week. But not factoring one of the big stories, of course, was Formula One, the new partnership. So, of course, brand new tracks. Overall, Daniel, how would you rank this W Series season compared to the first season, and not factoring in sort of the partnership with Formula One?
That's interesting. I would reply to that with the highest point. What I think it was the top thing, and the most problematic one. Let's say that first of all, the grid was really close, so I think that was really a big bonus for this series. Even though, of course, Jamie and Alice kind of dominated in terms of victories, and they ultimately battled between them. Even though Emma Kymäläinen was still in the championship fight at the last event in Kota. I think it was really, really exciting throughout the field. And of course, we had the experienced drivers, Jamie, Alice, and Emma, kind of fighting there at the top. But we saw some of the rookie drivers really making some great progress. I think the W Series Academy project was really, really successful. Irina Sidorkova and Nerea Marti really did well. And I think they are the real surprises of this season. I think the big one of the things that I liked the most about this season, and it's really, really promising for the future. I think we are seeing more young drivers getting up to speed quickly with drivers really experienced like Jamie, Alice, Emma. So I think this was my top point of this season. What I really didn't like that well was the fact that throughout the season we saw a little bit too many technical problems for some of the drivers. Ultimately, Alice Powell could not fight for the title at Kota because of an engine problem. Nothing, Jamie really deserved the title. I think she did amazing, and she's really a deserving champion. But of course, Alice didn't have the final round that she deserved. Also, some of the other drivers had quite a lot of technical issues. And so I think this is something that the series will have to look into coming into season 3. But as you said, the partnership with Formula One really, really brought them under the spotlight, under the international spotlight, because in 2019, when I followed them on track, it was kind of a smaller series. Of course, it was picking up the pace in the UK, because they had a big TV audience, because it was a free to air on public television. So that was a massive boost for them. But apart from the UK, it was still not that well known. While this year, they really made the most out of the platform that Formula One granted them.
Definitely, I would have to say they made the most of the platform. And yeah, when it comes to this year, I felt getting that global audience with Formula One was huge for the series. And overall, I think it was really great. This year, it's different to just have two drivers dominate a series week after week. But the two of them, up until Coda, it was really who's going to get this championship. You knew it was going to be one of those two at the end. Jamie Chadwick taking that championship. I think looking back, this is where people will say where that first year Jamie Chadwick won the championship was the inaugural season. Everybody sort of looks at inaugural champions as okay, it was the first year, brand new series. This was the driver that did the best job. Jamie Chadwick, I think, made the statement, well, she is the best driver on the grid because now she's done it 2 years in a row. Well, two consecutive seasons. Of course, we missed 2020 with the pandemic, but definitely she is somebody to be reckoned with next season. And of course, this year, all new tracks essentially with Austria, Silverstone, Spa, Zandvoort, Hungary, and the United States because they were on Formula One race weekends. Next season has not been released yet. When it comes to next season, which track do you believe should be added? Something like Interlagos, Monza, Suzuka? And which track do you believe this year have produced some of the best races for the W Series?
I think the calendar has not been released yet because, of course, they're working together with Formula One. So, of course, they have to look into the logistic side. There was a conference, a video call with a couple of W Series drivers just 2 days ago, and Catherine Bonmure, the WC CEO, and Catherine said that really the biggest challenge for them this year was a logistic scenario, because of course for you mentioned Monza. I think they really wanted to go to Monza, but they couldn't because they didn't have the time to ship all the equipment and the cars to Kota. So it was either United States or Italy. And since they really had a lot of races in Europe, they went for the United States because, of course, it was an important market. Initially, they had scheduled also the race in Mexico. That didn't happen, but still, it was important for them to also be in America. So as you said, it's important. They will have to work with Formula One and see the calendars. Of course, all the double headers and triple headers that Formula One is going towards are not really helping them on a logistic perspective, because of course they don't have the budget that Formula One has. So and it's really tight about logistics and having everything delivered from one race to the other. You mentioned Interlagos and Suzuka. Those will be really, really amazing tracks. I know that W Series really wants to expand their operations in Asia, as well as they wanted this year in America. So the next step is definitely going to be Asia. So we are really excited to see if they can do this starting from 2022 already. Monza, I think, will be amazing. We will have to see if they can manage that. I think regarding the best racing this year, Silverstone and Spa-Francorchamps, in my opinion, had some of the best racing. Austria was awesome because it's a shorter track, so the grid was a little bit more compact. The gaps were not that big, so I think it really did for some great racing. Even though from race 1 and race 2 there were some changes, and so it was difficult to understand where they were sitting on a technical point of view. But I think Silverstone and Spa really had some great racing. Spa, of course, they had the huge accident in qualifying, but in the race, I think it was really, really exciting with Emma Kimlanen winning the race, making some great overtakings, and also Marta Garcia had a great race there in mixed weather conditions. So I think really, and also at Silverstone with Fabian Voldland and Alice Powell fighting for the victory. So I think these were personally my favorite races this year.
Yeah, Silverstone, Emma, you've seen her at Spa. I would say those two were really good. Circus America, that first race I felt was really exciting. And then, of course, Austria, that first race, I think a lot of people always the first race you're excited for, and then to see the challenges Jamie had during that race. A lot of people had no idea what to anticipate this season, but of course Jamie came back and showed she would be the driver everyone's going to have to beat, and especially next year, people are going to have to deal with her. One track I think will be really exciting if W Series was able to go to United States. We're going to have the new Miami Grand Prix in the United States, a circuit here, a modern day street circuit. I think that'd be really exciting to see potential if that was to be added in as well. But of course, as soon as we know about the new series schedule, we'll be reporting it right here on the Grid Network. So be sure to subscribe. And of course, as you mentioned, Emma Kamalainen, that win Spa, one of the drives of the year. Mixed conditions, elevation changes, just really working that car around the track. We saw several surprise podium finishes, including Arenia from the W Series Academy. Overall, which drivers outside the top three in the points, of course, being Emma, Alice Powell, Jamie Chadwick, which ones really surprised you the most this season?
I think I will have to go with Nerea Marti and Irina Sirokova, the two youngest drivers on the grid. They did very well. Both finished on the podium. But also Abby Pulling, of course, she had just 3 races this year and still finished in the top 8. She was initially scheduled to run the whole British Formula 4 Championship, ran out of money midway through the season while she was battling for podiums. Switched to a reserve driver role in W Series and ended up in the top 8. So I think that was really, really impressive. So Abby Pulling and Nerea Marti, probably my 2 favorites of this year. But also Fabian Wolven really went close to winning her first race. She had a couple of technical issues at the end of the season, so that wasn't ideal. But probably, hopefully, she will fight back next year.
Yeah, Fabian really close. Just that one off got past. The rest was history in Silverstone. Of course, W Series next year it's going to be really exciting. We'll be following that all season long next year right here on the Grid Network. Now, one of the drivers we've been following pretty much since January when they had their first endurance race, and now here we are in December. Samantha Tan, and she definitely had a year to remember.
Oh, that's for sure. She claimed a lot of titles this year. She had her first international campaign with the 24-hour series by Creventic with her own Samantha Tan Racing. Canadian driver, 23-year-old. Really exciting to see her having such a big success this year. The last race of the season was the Sebring 24-hour for the first 24-hour flag-to-flag race in Sebring, which of course is really famous for the 12-hour race. And with the 24-hour series, Samantha Tan took home the second place in class and a 7th place overall in GT4. Of course, she had already won the GT4 title in the previous race in Hungaroring. But what an amazing achievement for her. She also, with her second place in class and her top 10 in overall, she also claimed the overall title. And for a GT4 car, that was really, really impressive. Samantha Tan having an amazing year this year. Yesterday, she actually was in Munich in Germany with the BMW to get the 2 brand new BMW M4 GT3 cars. Of course, she will switch from a GT4 to GT3 next year. She will do again the 24-hour series by Creventic, and also she will race in the GT World Challenge America Championship. So a double program for Samantha Tan, an international one and one based in America. I think she claimed 6 titles: the overall driver title, overall teams title, GT4 drivers, GT4 teams, junior title, and female title. 6 titles this year for Samantha. And she doesn't have a lot of winter break, because in January she will be back on track for the 24-hour of Dubai that she won last year. So she's already looking forward to shake down her brand new BMW M4 GT3 car.
Very impressive year. 6 titles And next month, back at it again with another 24 hours race. Something else going from 24-hour race in Sebring. The bumps, oh my gosh. To then, 1 month later, another 24-hour race. Very exciting. And big congratulations to Samantha on such a wonderful year. Of course, here in the United States, this year we saw several women in motorsports making history, including wins and championships, as you mentioned, Samantha Tan from Canada here in the United States. Of course, the Truck Series, a lot of people were following Hailie Deegan all season long. Hailie Deegan, of course, was in her rookie season in the NASCAR Camp World Truck Series. One top 10 finish, but that is pretty significant considering it was the first top 10 finish for a female racer in the Truck Series outside of Daytona International Speedway. So one of the big, huge milestones for Hailie. Of course, she's going to be back in the Truck Series next year. We know Jennifer Jo Cobb. Of course, she has a much smaller team that she's working with in the Truck Series. Overall, she had a pretty decent season at the start of the season. Towards the end of the season, that's where we saw that disadvantage of being a smaller team really start to show. But overall, we're going to be following Jennifer Jo Cobb with her next move in NASCAR and speak about next moves when it comes to NASCAR. A lot of drivers in the ARCA series that we were following all year long. Gracie Trotter, Bridget Burgess, Tony Brandinger, all three logging laps, getting good finishes. I know we were able to talk to Bridget at Portland International Raceway after the ARCA Menards West Series race, where she had a pretty decent run in the top five, even at times, but just mechanical failure was the demise of her race that day. And then, of course, one of the drivers we haven't talked about a whole lot, but was very successful in 2021, Natalie Decker. She had a lot of sports car races out around the country, earning wins, podium finishes. She might be out of NASCAR spotlight, but she is still racing all across the United States. And the four races she did do, NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series starts, just bad luck, including Daytona, the road course, going out early, no fault of her own, and then mechanical issues. So definitely Natalie Decker, somebody to follow all year long. Of course, you can follow every driver. There is their social media icon under their photo. Now, Daniel, I just recapped some of the drivers here in the United States that we were following. Over in Europe, which drivers made some really great progress that you were following throughout 2021?
Now that's really interesting because I'm working on a feature for our website exactly on this topic. So look out for our feature in the next couple of weeks. We will go through all these drivers that had really impressive seasons. But I will say a couple of names. Sophia Flörsch for me. She really is. Last year she was racing in the FIA Formula 3. This year she was her first season outside of Formula cars, but still managed to race in different programs. She raced in DTM, in a WEC, and also did a race in ELMS. And she was competitive in all these series. In DTM, with really at her first season in GT3 machinery, first time in the car, with under really difficult circumstances, because of course the DTM was undergoing a really news era into the new regulations. So all teams had to work with different regulations. And also going against some really experienced drivers of GT3 cars. Towards the end of the season, she was a lot more competitive, closer to the top 10, finishing in the points. Was the first woman to finish in the points in DTM since 2012, I believe. So Sophia Flörsch is one, and then of course she finished on the podium in her only race in ELMS, in European Le Mans Series. That was the first time a woman had stepped on the overall podium. Then in WEC really was competitive with the Richard Mille Racing team, finishing always in the top 10 in class, being really close to top 5. She was a little bit unlucky at the 24-hour Le Mans when she was taken out early, but Sophia Flörsch is one of my names for the season. One is Taylor Hagler. Of course, you asked me about European drivers, but Taylor is American. But what a year Taylor Hagler has had! You know, she claimed the title in the Michelin Pilot Challenge in IMSA. She had her first season in GT3 machinery in the GT World Challenge America. She won races, finished second in the championship, I believe. Taylor Hager, what a season for Taylor. And also mentions to Erin Vogel, who won her first race in GT3, and Ashton Harrison also, that she won the final race overall in the GT World Challenge. Then Samantha Tan, we already talked about her. Michelle Gatting won this season in the Ferrari Challenge European Championship in the Pirelli class. Massive achievement also for Michelle. Sarah Bovey, what a season for Sarah. She really didn't even know where to race at the beginning of the year. She joined the Iron Dames in April. Did a couple of races in the Michelin Cup, and then switched to the main team, and really became one of the reference points in the main team, and raced both in ELMS and WEC. Did Le Mans. We also had her on the show in a previous episode where she described her experience of the 24-hour Le Mans. Neria Marti and Abby Pooling, we already mentioned them. Hamd Al-Kubaisi did a podium in the Italian Formula 4 and really is one of the most experienced now drivers in Formula 4 all around the world, and one of the most successful female driver in worldwide in Formula 4 categories. And then we also had Lilou Wadou, a great driver from France. Also, she had a great season, had her first victory at the final round in the Alpine Europa Cup. Then she went on to test the WEC with the LMP2 car with Richard Mille. I think great stuff is coming up for Lilou, who has been also testing in the Porsche GT3 car lately last week. Gabriela Gilkova, GT4 really specialist in Germany. More interesting stuff coming from her. She will also join the European GT4 Championship next year, so another big step for her. She won also at the beginning of the season the Winter Series, the GT4 Winter Series. Many interesting drivers also let's mention also Michel Halder and Al Bacano in the TCR Spain. Both won races there. Carlotta Fedeli took the TCR DSG title in Italy. Michaela Olin-Kotulinski doing well also in STCC. The girls only team at the Nordschleife taking the 24-hour victory of the Nürburgring in their class with Pippa Mann and also Kelly Schreiner was there. So Molly Taylor is leading the Extreme E Championship, the first ever season of the Extreme E season championship. That we know that a female driver is always competing with a male driver, so that's also interesting feature for motorsport. And Molly is kind of dominating the first season. So I think many drivers. These are the ones that come to my mind. But look out for our article in the next couple of weeks.
Definitely a lot of big names that you mentioned throughout the year, just dominating in their respective series. Definitely going to be following that. As Daniel mentioned, on their website, Racers Behind the Helmet, you can find the full article coming soon there. Of course, you can find current stories about Nira, everything going on, Alice Powell in the Formula E series, and of course the calendar. I know this weekend we got a couple of races going on. Some of the races series we're not talking about too much, like NASCAR Peak Mexico Series trucks, World Racing League. Daniel, when it comes to some of the races coming up this year, what are some of the big races you're going to be following?
Well, I will be following, as you can see here on the website, the World Racing League, because it is really interesting. It is a very interesting series. They have quite a lot of female names of quite high profiles. Sabre Cook, the W Series racer, will be racing there in an all-female team, also sharing the car with Taylor Hagler, for example, and Ayla Agren, another W Series racer. So there's Pippa Mann, there's some other really interesting names there. It is a kind of the similar championship as the Craventix 24-hour series, but only US based. There is a really interesting mix of professional teams with amateur teams. But the races are really exciting. They have 2 8-hour races coming up at Kota this weekend, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. So I'll be following that closely. And yeah, the grids are massive. There are like 90 cars, something like that. And it's really professional. It's cost effective compared to some other endurance championships, but it's really professional environment. So I think I will be following them closely for this weekend.
And we encourage everyone, you can find the links in the video description. Of course, be sure to like and subscribe to the Grid Network right here on YouTube, and especially if you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, and of course, we're on TikTok, Instagram, as well as Racers to Girls Behind the Helmet. We're out of time, but we want to thank everyone for watching. We'll definitely be back on the air again in 2021. Be sure to follow the Grid Network for all program listings. For Dan Zeri at Racers to Girls Behind the Helmet, I'm Joe Samaniego. Thank you for watching today's program. We'll see you next time.
Don't be an anonymous investor. Join the stock market social media platform public.com. Invest any amount of money and share with friends and new friends. Discover new opportunities, such as new companies and potential business partners, and useful tools for beginners, and share your experience with friends on public.com. Link in the video description gets you $5 for being a Grid Network viewer. Use the referral code GridNet for your free $5 to invest. Start investing and networking on public.com.